spoke at the OECD back in November because we were trying to look ahead at, what are policies you're going to need for the future, things like 3D printing, how are that going to change the way business models. But I try to stress that when companies talk about global value change, that's not a static idea.
Yeah.
This is a concept that they're constantly evaluating and changing their global value change based on technology, political environments, regulatory environments, climate activities, and so forth. So, I don't think they're going to, even though they're localizing, which I understand a lot of our companies will localize. They just don't want to be forced to localize.
Right.
They want to be able to make decisions they think make sense. And if things change, they want to be able to, maybe they don't localize at that point because they have to have that flexibility, they think, to stay competitive and to be able to continue to grow. So I think you're still going to have the importance of being able to have regulations that don't restrict your ability to stay competitive or to that prevent you, even if they're GE is having factories in different countries, they got to move data back and forth, I'm sure, and so you're going to have these constant challenges from the global standpoint still.
Yeah, we probably haven't talked enough about data flows. Doug, you had a question at the back of the room?
Hi, thanks, Doug Palmer with Politico. Actually, my question is just for Nancy. The TPP agreement has this action plan with Vietnam that the administration is hailing as groundbreaking. I just wondered if the ILO has taken a look at that and whether they agree with the administration that this is really an advance in terms of labor commitments in the trade agreement.
Let me answer it this way. ILO, time and again, in places where there are important changes that are needed in society to move forward, we're being drawn in, requested to be a partner, almost an indispensable partner, I think, because we have the expertise to help our member countries, Vietnam's a member country of the ILO, to achieve the goals they've set in the consistency agreement with the U.S. And I say that we were pulled in, you may remember when the Columbia Labor Action Plan came about, one of the biggest things that people were worried about was murders of labor leaders and the impunity in the judicial system. So let me say, we get asked, and we work on some of the toughest problems in the world, addressing things just like that. And Vietnam has some very big challenges, and they're also, I think, a country that may stand to benefit from TPP the most. And what are we doing? We've been requested already, even though the ratification question is going to be moved through in the normal way. We don't take positions on trade agreements, I should say. We do give technical advice on the labor aspects, but we're a multilateral institution, so if we're going to get in the middle of a trade agreement between two member countries, we try to not be put in the people's trade agreements. But we are a very important partner, I think, and right now we've been asked, we're looking at what changes they may need to address in the law, what kind of technical help they need. The U.S. iLab has given us grants to work on the child labor issue, on a safety and health issue, because these things are not simple. They require serious work, and the countries want our help, and we're not their trading partner, but we are a partner. And so we're excited about the opportunities that trade agreements create when the labor provisions are a goal between the parties. And I have to say, it's a huge, I would say, a motivation for countries to make progress. And so I have to say that that's something I've been saying for a while. It makes a difference, but it requires some expertise. And so we're already working on it with them because they want our help. That's when we come in, is when countries ask us for help, and hopefully they'll be supported by their partners.
Should we go back to the room? Any other questions out there? And off the quiet. I'm just going to pose one last question. of data flows and digital trade. I mean, Ken, your work on value-added trade has showed that we're measuring what trade there is in physical goods all wrong. As it is, then there's a clear line out there that we're measuring services trade. We're struggling to measure services trade. I wonder, do we have a good handle on digital trade and where things are going?
No. We don't. We know it's important. We think it's growing. We think it's going to become more important, but no. We don't have a good handle at all. The SG mentioned he's on his way to Cancun for a Digital Economy Society ministerial, where one of the questions is going to be what exactly is the digital economy? And the question that I have on my agenda is what is digital trade? So I don't think there's a good definition. We're working now on trying to put together a typology that makes sense. So I'm pretty sure it involves business-to-consumer transactions, business-to-business transactions, intra-firm transactions. I think there's an emerging opportunity in big data that is not really being exploited as it might. But I don't think there is a very good definition. I mean, US ITC have done some interesting work here. And so we're trolling the literature, which is what we always do to begin. But I mean, I don't know if ILO or Rob has something to add on this one, but it's an area that is poorly understood. We have looked at data localization measures and tried to do some analytics around them. We think they're a very bad idea. And we'll have a piece come out in just a couple of weeks to explain more about that. So maybe that's a little bit of an advertisement. It's important, I think, but we don't have the kind of data sets that would allow us to be much more eloquent in that. I don't know, Rob, if you wanted to be eloquent on digital trade.
Well, one, I just wanted to, do an advertisement also there. It's just that we will be doing a program with the OECD. We did one 2 years ago on trade and investments. We're doing it again this year on September 15th here in Washington, and one of the panels will be discussing digital trade. Are there new rules needed? I see a number of my member company representatives out in the audience there, and it's just, as I talk to each one of those that are doing, involved in different aspects of digital in their business, it's just astounding how different, they are. So I think it is a challenge here. I was meeting with PayPal last week, and learning things that I just didn't even know they were doing here. It showed how old I am when they mentioned one of the products that, and all the young people in the room said, "Oh, you don't know about that?" But I mean, I do think that there's work that needs to be done in that area. It's important because it is changing the way, again, from my standpoint, the way companies do business, and then that change what are the policy needs potentially. Here we've seen that in any number of cases where business changes, and the policy doesn't keep up with it. It usually is not good for the economy.
Rob Mulligan, Nancy Donaldson, Ken Ash, thank you very much.